bridges bridges are live, and everyone is now able to bridge day from Ethereum to Polygon and DEUS. And what, like, I was thinking about it before, but I wasn't that sure, and now I'm like 100% sure that the model how fracs work is perfect for bridging. It's so perfect.
Yeah, I think you should explain that in a little bit of detail.
Yes. The model is so perfect that we actually need to build something in order to prevent it from happening. So whenever you mint or burn day, someone else can buy or sell DEUS at Oracle rate to the contract and take USDC out or put USDC in. And everyone can basically do that. So whenever someone is bridging day from one chain to the other, he's basically burning it on one chain and minting it on the other. So what we did is we even built something to make that arbitrage opportunity, or that buyback and recollateralize, that's how they call it. We prevented that from happening by having some virtual day in the contract. So with that, we have other people, because when you bridge the day, the USDC stays on one chain. And this is now the big question. How can you move the USDC without like doing it in a centralized way? And with the Frax model, everyone can basically do it by buying and selling the DEUS to the contract on one chain or on the other. And then we thought about we can even do like a system where anyone could just deposit USDC on one chain and withdraw it on the other. So we can also, like with this model, we even have like a bridge for USDC or any stablecoin. We could even make like a day that's like backed by Ethereum, or like a version of day that's backed by Ethereum. It's packed to Ethereum, it's like just like Ethereum. And you can bridge like Ethereum without slippage. The only question that we need to think of is like, do we want to have a fee or not? Because it's like the question is this: if we have a fee for the bridging, then we can make it completely decentralized. Or we don't do a fee and it's free to bridge, but then we need to whitelist all the people that are able to move liquidity, because then someone could just do it over and over and over and get the incentive all the time. So that's the only question that we should, as a community, decide what to do. If we should do it without fees, or if we should charge a fee. If we charge a fee, it's like it's working without slippage, and it's a closed system. So the fee that what someone pays is like the reward of the other. And then we could even make like maybe some staking with the fees. So yeah, we can think of that. So the goal is now to deploy this on as many chains as possible, because every chain that we deploy, we can then bridge liquidity without any issues. And then we will work on building that system to actually move the USDC, because until now, I think that there is like no bridge or anything where you're like incentivized to move the liquidity when it's needed. Because most of the bridges that are decentralized, they work in a way that there's maybe some incentive to move it, but you have, in the end, you will have slippage. So you will have some form of slippage, especially if there's like a lot of, if you want to move a lot of liquidity. And with the day model and the Frax model, we have a possibility to bridge liquidity without slippage, which I think only centralized bridges do. Yeah. You always have like some form of slippage. And then the next goal would be to actually make like a cross-chain lending platform where others can deposit some tokens for others to borrow. And then with that model, we can like make the bridge even more efficient. So yeah, that's what we are working on the bridge side. It's, yeah, I thought like in the beginning, I thought with Frax, to make it perfect, we actually need like some global variable, global collateral rate in order to incentivize the people to bridge. But the model itself already is perfect for the bridging. You don't even need a global collateral rate. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't think of themselves to do something like that, or anyone else. So
I wonder if anyone's
good.
got any questions at this point about the bridge now that it's
Oh, really?
live. And if guys want to use the cafe chat, you can type if you don't
Oh,
want
yeah.
to speak. So please
So yeah,
feel free to ask.
yeah, ask the questions about the bridges, because I will close the topic about the bridges afterwards.
Yeah.
Because there's something that is like maybe even more exciting that we thought of, or actually it's not even that we thought of it. There's like someone who contacted CoinLord who's working on DSynths. Okay, if no one has questions about the bridge.
No questions about the bridge? Yeah, we got some guys typing.
I mean, the model that Synapse, or I don't know how to pronounce it, is doing is like, we even thought like, okay, cross-chain curve is also very good, but you still have some form of slippage, and you don't have the incentive to move the liquidity. So the goal would be to actually, someone is like on Polygon and he says, okay, I want that much USDC, and someone else or some scripts are actually moving the USDC there through some other bridges, and he gets like an incentive by, he will be able to mint some deals based on Oracle rate, based on that. So that is the next goal, to decentralize that. Because if you look at it, we have Tether, we have USDC. Those are like the main liquidity pairs. And yeah, you will always have a centralized solution around that. Because it's like the stablecoin is centralized, meaning the bridges are centralized. And the idea was to build a system around that incentivize people to actually take USDC and bring it to Polygon. So yeah, that would be the ultimate goal with the bridge. And we can utilize all liquidity that is like from day on that side already. And we even like incentivize people to move liquidity. And there could be like a system where you request the USDC from other chains.
Right. Leffa, do you want to touch on the virtual day mechanism that you were speaking about to me, and what like problem that alleviates or potential problem?
Yeah. So yeah, as soon as you like bridging, you're burning day on one side and you mint it on the other, meaning that in the same moment someone could buy back and recollateralize already, and because he could trigger it through the bridge, he could maybe trick the system because he can buy and sell back on Oracle rate. So maybe he manipulates the price, bridges something, recollateralates. So we implemented a virtual day, so that as soon as someone is like, as soon as someone is like bridging, that arbitrage opportunity or buyback opportunity is not happening. So we can implement another system where we can say, okay, we collect some fees, and maybe every 24 hours or when something random is happening, or if the threshold is above a certain value, then we open that buyback and collateralize thing. So if someone is like, and with that, we would actually enable like the moving of a lot of liquidity, you know, because like before you were always like bound to the limits of the bridge, and with day, I mean, when it's big enough, people will maybe not even use USDC anymore, and until then, we can just utilize that model of people minting day on one side, putting USDC in, and others
67.
can work with it.
67.
Wait. Okay.
I found it.
So yeah, me too. The virtual day is actually like just a security measurement in order to prevent people from, because every time when you have an Oracle, or when you have Oracle price at some point, you should always make it hard for someone to determine that, you know. So when you have the buyback and recollateralize based on the Oracle price, he should not be able to trigger it
Right.
when he wants. Yes.
And
So
and
yeah,
when you were talking about in terms of people can request, you were hinting at like a
yeah.
request function for moving the liquidity from one
I
chain to
mean,
another.
I mean, like that is where we're moving with DEUS Gen2 anyway. You know,
Right.
DEUS Gen2 is basically that. And when we're at that point, then you don't even have to bridge the liquidity anymore. You know, someone can just say, I want to buy 10,000 Bitcoins here on Ethereum, and someone else could sell the 10,000 Bitcoins to you. And even like if he only has it somewhere else. He just provides a collateral. So the system that we're envisioning with Gen 2 is anyway very similar to like you request, you set like an order, and then that order is like filled by someone else.
Right. And that's kind of your idea that you're hinting at when you were, cryptically
Yeah,
talking about no more bridges, right? In the future.
something like that, because like it's actually, if you think about it for a moment, the whole bridges, or also Uniswap in general, you have like this huge amount of money. I mean, Uniswap V3 is already going into the right direction, you know.
Yeah.
But a centralized exchange with its market makers, and also the whole like traditional financial industry, it all is based on that someone is like making a request and then someone else is fulfilling it. I mean, Robinhood works like that you can trade stocks upfront and they clear it afterwards.
Yes.
And in crypto, everything is like, we put all liquidity on one pile and then based on that we can trade, which is like very inefficient, super inefficient. And if you have a bridge that works like that, it's also inefficient. So you pay like a lot of slippage and you don't, if you want to bridge something, it doesn't work. So most of the systems with where there's like, you know, someone with a lot of liquidity, and for example, a bank, they would not use a system like that. You need to lock your liquidity into a contract. You don't know if that contract is like bug free. And in the end, you earn a little bit of APY. So with DEUS Gen2, we could actually make it possible for traditional finance to use DeFi. And so everything that we develop, kind of like we're like testing it. How does that order system work? How can we incentivize someone to move the liquidity? So the bridges are actually like the perfect scenario for that. And I think what we need to do with this is we need to figure out something that uses Muon that no one else can do. That no one else can do without Muon. So
We're gonna segue now into the other thing we were speaking about, right?
yeah.
So I think let's wrap up. There is a question here from COSAC is asking about will we add additional incentive pools when we bridge to other chains?
Will we add more? You mean like staking?
Yeah, he's talking about the yield farming.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it.
The goal would be, of course, to completely like close that and make the system work without any freshly minted DEUS. So without staking and anything, but like staking in a way that there's like fees and you get the fees. So we are slowly progressing to something where we are utilizing others to provide liquidity. We have like a potential partnership with someone on Phantom who is like doing that. They are like, it's like liquidity on demand service. So yeah, the goal is to stop the minting for the staking. Okay, so now I want to talk about that idea that CoinLord brought up.
Yeah.
Which is like, so on Muon we are working on a launchpad. Muon is like partnered with Fear Gaming, who are like they developed games 10 years ago that PewDiePie played on YouTube with millions of views, and they are now going into blockchain, and they're releasing a new token, and Muon is like now acting as a launchpad. And CoinLord came to me and asked me about, there was like an investor that proposed him, or that he asked him what we at DEUS or DSIMs, what we envision. And he said we want to become like the Robinhood of DeFi. So like where you can trade stocks and IPOs. And then he suggested that we should rather do IDOs instead of IPOs. And I thought about this, like I already thought about it before. I was like thinking, okay, IPOs are maybe cool, but we will never like actually get to an IPO where we like get a stock at IPO price. So the counterparty it's hard, you know. On DEUS Gen2, maybe it's possible. Someone could like sell his IPO stocks. But what we can do is like we can do IDOs very easily. So for example, when we finish the market maker, we could make Muon tradable right now. And for example, I could create a contract and say, I will give away 10% of my team tokens later, and others can buy them right now and can trade them. And then later I deposit my tokens, and others can, like my Muon, and others could exchange it one-to-one. So, and together with, if we combine it with the launchpad service, we could at one point actually, project comes, they want to do like a token sale. So they just use Muon, make it like a pre-sale. And as soon as they deploy the pre-sale, others can already trade like the future of it. And then people that got a like a whitelist spot can basically sell their tokens to others already immediately. I was pretty excited about that idea. So we, so I in the same, like the call was like that. In the same call, I said like to Coiler, he should already start building it. And we already have all the technology ready from the IPO days. So we're just automizing it. The funny thing is that at some point, like we could even make a DEUS that DEUS itself also is a launchpad, and you could lock some DEUS and win like a pre-IDO of the pre-IDO spot. And then others could like make a contract of the pre-IDO and sell their spot, to be honest. So this is actually like future trading at its best. And I think who's like everyone in here who's not muted, like just mute everyone. Wait.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So we could, yeah. So right now, everyone who bought into the Muon pre-sale on DEUS, we maybe make it possible that you could sell your Muon already as a future. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I asked like DAOmaker, I asked like Hatu what he thinks, and he said like he would not sell his tokens up only. But I'm sure I think it's even like in the bear market, it's potentially very cool. So that projects could actually hedge them a little bit and already create a market, even if they maybe don't want to launch it right now because of the bear market. So it opens like a complete new possibility or angle, dimension for IDOs. And then, yeah, last thing that we will work on is like a cross-chain lending platform that we want to add to DEUS. Because I think that's something with Muon in the end that will make use of Muon at its best. Because if you have like a lending platform and you can define the collateral ratios based on all collateral on all chains, you get it's like the most efficient.
We have a question here, Lefa, about
How should DEUS holders think about the systemic risk introduced by eventually integrating tens or hundreds of alternative chains? So what I thought about this issue is like that we make like we implement something into the bridges that you can, for example, you can send 1,000 DEUS or 100 DEUS. You can send it to the bridge contract and deactivate the bridge to one chain. So if there's something happening with that chain and someone is realizing it, he can deactivate the bridge. That was the plan for that systemic risk. Because yeah, I think the same is true for
The risk is
if
still
there's
still isolated to the chain in question.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Same is the problem with if something happens to the collateral, you know, something happens to USDC. So we should do the same for that too. It's like what Maker is doing. They have like a similar system. You can send like makers to some contract and then you deactivate the minting or the
like
how
a
do you call it, vault?
user-initiated failsafe.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Because then
with
it's
some attached reward mechanism.
yeah. So if someone is like doing deactivating the bridge on with goodwill, and there is really something happening, then he would get some rewards, yeah, or he would lose.
Yeah.
What he said, yeah. So like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the obvious reason for having to have the fee structure associated with that, right? It can't be something that if it's not in goodwill, that there's no
Yeah,
severe
you
penalty, right?
like I mean, you always have that if you're having a system that is for free, for example, IOTA or Nano or anything, you know, or Robinhood. Robinhood is for free. They don't charge like fees on their trades, but in some way or form, money is made. And we could either do it in a way so that we say, okay, when someone is bridging or when someone is like doing something, we can incentivize them by giving them the opportunity to get some deals for free, you know, like the Frax system working, or like at a discounted rate. But that always opens the possibility that someone is like doing something to get that incentive. So you can either make a closed system where you say, okay, the fee is going to it's all about fees, or you make like an open system where you let new or you mint new tokens. I think they like Bitcoin, Ethereum, they all start in a similar way, you know? Or like they were like minting new Ethereum, or they're still minting new Ethereum. But the ecosystem that was built on top, now transaction fees are actually way more than the minted Ethereum. So yeah.
Right.
That would be the goal.
Yeah.
Have like an incentive in the beginning, incentivize them a little bit more with maybe some extra deals, and then later it will be closed based on the transaction fees.
Do we have any further questions at this point?
Yeah, don't worry, Raccoon. I think everyone who is inside of like in the chat should just mute himself if he's not muted. So I think like the launchpads, I was like super excited about that pre-IDO thing, because everyone could just like in combination with the launchpad service.
Do you
And
want to touch
especially in
on?
the
Do you want
beginning
to touch briefly on the launchpad service, like what that
of-
entails?
so
Like what
so
Muon
it's
can
like,
offer?
yeah, Muon will just like the same that we did now with the Muon pre-sale on DEUS. Muon will like offer to other projects so they can deploy a pre-sale contract, staking, lock liquidity on multiple chains. And I think based on like, as soon as a project wants to go multi-chain with Muon, with pre-sales, we can like offer them, or it would be bad for them to use USDC.
Yeah.
So they like, in the best scenario possible, they would use DEI. And I think they will realize that. So because if you use DEI, we can make a system that is completely decentralized and you have a multi-chain pre-sale. You can launch your pre-sale on multiple chains, then launch your token on multiple chains, have like the bridges already. So that is what Muon is offering.
And
Like a
the
multi-chain
only
launch.
requirement they have to have access to that really is that they use our stable, right?
Like it will not be that they have to use it.
Yeah.
But for example, just one problem. Let's say you have a pre-sale and you want to lock your liquidity after the pre-sale. Something that is very common on, for example, PancakeSwap. I'm sure Bund, he knows like a lot of those launchpads that someone can make a token, a pre-sale, and then it's automatically added to Pancake, and yeah, something like that. And if you think about it for a second with Muon, let's say you have a pre-sale on 2 chains, Binance Chain, Polygon, okay? And you want to lock your liquidity 50-50. But your users are not participating 50-50, you know? Possible they all participate on Binance Chain. So you would need to withdraw the USDC manually and move it to Polygon in order to create a pool. And with DEI, it's not like that, you know? Even if everyone is like participating in one chain on Binance Chain and they raised like 2 million, after that they can just mint 1 million of DEI on both chains and then create a liquidity pool. So and that's actually something that Max is always like raising. It's like, if we're doing cross-chain stuff, like cross-chain staking, cross-chain lending, like Aave, you need a cross-chain token as collateral, and then it's really effective. So I actually think that in all of what Muon is doing, they will have to play a role if a project is really interested in going multi-chain, because you will never have a multi-chain Tether or USDC or other. And then we could even like could not make it in a way so that it's actually, you don't have to even bridge the DEI anymore. Something like we envision with the ERC-20.
Yeah.
So it's not like it doesn't exist on one chain at a time. It's like you can add or subtract the balance directly to other chains. But this would not work with MetaMask. So there is like the goal to make an own wallet for Muon at some point. And the cool thing is that when we talked to Fear, they were actually like, they also are thinking of like creating a wallet where you can play games. So it's kind of like Steam. So yeah, Muon will potentially need its own wallet, and then you can do a lot more things cross-chain that would never be possible with MetaMask. If you see it, it's like, if you do something cross-chain with MetaMask, it's a problem. I mean, they added this button a few months ago, where you can add the network and switch the network through a button. But imagine you have like a wallet where you don't even have to do this anymore, because you can just, yeah, interact with all chains at the same time. So the launchpad service is like to help projects launch on multiple chains from the start, while being super lightweight. You know, Muon contracts are lightweight. And the coolest thing is that with Muon, we can implement so that everyone, for example, on DEUS, we had like people that participated in the staking. People are like that participate in the staking were eligible for the pre-sale. And same thing Fear wants now to do. So we could actually like have like a launchpad, okay? All the tokens are standard, but you could add like a script, and based on that script, you have your pre-sale participants. So everyone can add its own scripts to that too. So I don't think that there is like a launchpad or like something similar out there. And if we add the future deployment of future market, then yeah, I don't think it would be cool, or people would like say, hey, launch with Muon, so we can trade the token immediately, even if you don't launch in the next months or weeks. That IPC thing, they should have did something like that. I mean, and we will see it. I think we will see it a lot in the bear market, that there is like a lot of projects that don't launch. We even like had like the same thinking for Muon back then, to not launch when the market is in that bad situation. Everyone was like, yeah, don't launch in that bad market. And with that pre-IDO platform, you could just launch it anytime and create a market.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So I hope we can actually like have the Muon future token launch in like maybe this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this month, maybe 3 weeks, because like I could actually, from a technical perspective, we could just use the contract that we already used for the IPOs. Just make a front end, and yeah.
I see Cossack is talking about a large workload to work on, for one team to work on a launchpad and a lending platform.
Oh, it's like we have now,
but it's
like
not,
we have
yeah.
4. He means like third party. We have now like at Muon, we will actually like, because Muon itself is like on Muon, like the core is developed, you know, but it's all about like the applications that you can build on top. So we already have like 3 development teams at Muon and another one at DEUS. And the goal is to actually create something that maybe is called like a development studio on top of Muon, where projects can, or we can hire teams that help projects develop stuff on Muon and then create a white label solution and share the revenue. So something like I don't know, developer DAO. Oh yeah, I saw that in Wyoming, they actually like they recognize DAOs now as owners of companies. So that's also cool. I think we're going into the right direction in that sense.
Where did you say? Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Also, I saw that the government, like American government, there was like this one paper where they define cryptocurrencies now as virtual assets. So I think like we're going in the right direction. I actually found this by through Max, who sent me yesterday. He sent me something. It's called City DAO, and they want to do like a decentralized city, and they buy the land in Wyoming, and it's like owned by LLC that is owned by DAO, and you can like buy citizenships.
Right.
Yeah.
The first citadel. I see Rodfer is typing.
Yeah.
I guess we can take a few more minutes if anyone's got any other questions about the bridges or anything else unrelated to what we've been speaking about. It's fine, I guess.
I think like a lot of people, they're still like thinking that the price has something to do with marketing. And I don't believe that. I still don't believe like that we, through corporated shilling or anything, like if we build one application that is using Muon in a way that you cannot do it. I mean, like even Hussein is talking about Muon in a way that is like next generation of blockchains or distributed systems. So in the beginning, when we built Muon, I had like all of those emotional phases in myself where I thought, okay, yeah. First I thought it doesn't work. Then I thought it maybe works, but it cannot be that huge. And now I'm just like thinking all the time, like, what can you actually build with it that someone else cannot build with the current technology that we use? And one thing that it would be really cool is like to actually build a connection between centralized exchanges and DeFi, because I think there's still a lot of people, and especially traditional finance stuff, they would never even touch a contract. They would maybe have like an escrow and have like the money in a bank or something, and then participate. There's like this one project that we should maybe contact sometime that they were like thinking of doing something similar. And in the white paper, exactly at that point where there should be something being written about Muon, they had like no idea how to do it in a secure way. So
Right.
Muon could work or help traditional like anything. It's actually from where you have a centralized and decentralized. Like whenever there is something where you have a decentralized system, for example, Ethereum, and you need a connection with something that is outside of Ethereum. So if someone has an idea how to use that,
Rodfer is asking a question about
just DAO
just
maker
DAO
for the
maker.
Muon. Like there was already the sale on DEUS. So for the IDO, you mean? Yeah, the IDO that will be on DAO maker. and there was like the pre-sale. But you mean like, do you mean like the public launch? Because the public launch will be on some centralized exchanges. But we could make like a future contract way before. But on DAR Maker, I don't know. I think they do it with Binance dollar, their IDOs.
Let's take a couple more questions, Lefa. I see some guys are typing,
Yeah.
and then we can wrap it up.
I hope we can we are getting that pre-IDO platform as soon as possible. I would be even like
Yeah.
launch it even with the old contracts, just for fun, and make like a Muon future.
Yeah.
I'm sure like a lot of people already in the DEUS chat who would love to sell. Like I think there was like this one guy who was like super upset about everything,
I think
and he was like,
I think
"I want to sell."
his allocation would get bought in 10 seconds.
Yes. And look how like what a there is a lot of need for that, you know. People that get a whitelist spot or VCs that get pre-sales or pre-IDOs or influencers or just projects. I think in the beer market, even like projects, for them it's the best way. Create like a market.
Yeah, secondary market exists immediately.
And based on on that, like we can do it in a permissionless way. So DEUS could become like a big exchange for newly launched tokens.
Yasin is asking how you are, Lafa.
Yeah, good.
Asking the real questions. Maybe let's take one more. I see Kosak is typing. Bent is very quiet. He just said, we like the bridges. That's all I saw him write. Has anyone else got any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to look to wrap up soon.
Yeah, we should make a pool girl NFT. You can, yeah. If someone is like makes a pool girl NFT, he can already bridge it here. I don't know if someone is like.
Have you spoken about the NFT bridges much? I don't.
Yeah,
That might be.
I don't.
That might be for another stream. Because that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you do it like that. Wait. But it's still not on mainnet. I think Coinlore is doing. What will happen to Muon allocations which are not claimed? They will be like, they're going to be. There is a lot of like influencers that we still can give some allocation to. So yeah, with the unbought allocation, it will be used somewhere else. We will make like a Muon pre-sale for the Muon community. So it's probably going to them. Anyone who didn't bought it, yeah, bought the full allocation. So it's not that we can distribute it, or that we distribute it to the rest of the community. If you participate, like if you registered for the whitelist on the Muon whitelist form, then you can maybe get some more. But that's exactly how those IDOs work. It's like limited supply, and they create like a high demand for it. All the launchpads, they do all the same. I think launchpads are kind of even worse than ICOs. So I hope with that future platform and Muon launchpad, it balances it out, because then everyone can just buy when they want.
Oh, Kozak is saying he can't participate in the DAO maker pre-sale.
Yeah.
China, K1. Oh,
I don't know. I don't
rugged.
know what. Yeah, I don't know what they allow a DAO maker. I'm not 100% sure. But like, it's not gonna be a Muon DEUS launcher. It's gonna be Muon launchpad plus DEUS future market. And all with day. That's the vision.
Bullish.
I think it's cool because we could potentially partner with all projects, you know, for DEUS from the start, because everyone could just deploy its tokens from the start, and all the launchpads. Yeah. Good. That's it.
Yeah.
I hope we have a version on DSIMs of that very soon. Good.
I'm sure, definitely.
Yes, it shouldn't be that much from development side. So yeah. Good. Then
Jonas is asking, will you run DEUS on Muon with Muon token standard?
I think like 3,000 people,
3,000
Moonboy.
something, yeah.
Yeah, maybe more. Will you run DEUS on Muon with Muon's token? You mean like the DEUS token? Yeah, I think we will start with DAI, because like a multi-chain stablecoin is what we need. We need for every application you want to build with Muon, you need like a multi-chain stablecoin. Other way it doesn't work. And if we can always like have DAI being bridged without a fee, without a slippage, and in the end, everyone would be like, if you really want to move liquidity, you would not use anything else than DAI. Of course, right now, if you move DAI, you can redeem it on the other chain. We need more liquidity in the system, but from that standpoint, moving liquidity with DAI will be the easiest way. So if you have stable coins, you should mint DAI with it. And I thought about that too. It's like, okay, what do we need in order to attract a lot of liquidity? And I think like Magic Internet Money, what they did is actually very interesting with that you have like interest-bearing tokens. So I thought, okay, with USDC, you can actually also create interest-bearing tokens, so users could mint day and automatically deposit their USDC in a staking and receive APY for that. Because I think most of stablecoins, they're parked somewhere to gain APY. And then you have like cross-chain yield farming with your day, and others could create like strategies for the underlying USDC. Good.
I think that's
Oh no, like on the ambassador program, we didn't work like, I think there's like one person who is in charge of it. I contact
we are in
you.
there.
You maybe know more than I, Ross. I'm always thinking of like what to build.
Yeah, sure. That program is being worked on.
What do you mean by easy depositing? Good. Okay. I don't know, Jonas. What do you mean with easy depositing?
Is it perhaps a fiat on-ramp? Is he referring to? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually working on that, and we're also working on a listing for DEUS and DEI on some centralized exchanges. But it's centralized, so there are contracts involved, and you're not allowed to talk about it. So there's like nothing that we can say about this, but we're working on it.
Yeah,
good.
Great. Well, that's an hour on the head, and I think
Yeah.
yeah, we always try to keep these things short, but like, you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I'm still super excited about that pre-IDO thing. I hope we can launch a Muon pre-IDO this month.
awesome.
Would be the goal. Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Leffa,
See you
thank you.
soon.
Thanks
Bye
everybody.
bye.
We'll chat to you guys soon. Bye.